I born in a strong Muslim family, which is Shia. I grew up in my faith, which is transferred from my grandma to my grandfather, to my dad, and transferred to me. I remember years ago when I was as a child, my grandmother were encouraging me to do namaz and do the Islam's traditional. I try to follow the faith they keep telling me since I was young. I remember even I was child, like 12 years old. My grandma said, "You have to, if you want to go to heaven, you have to follow what we are teaching you." And my grandfather, from my dad's side, he had a mosque, you know. So I was 12 years old. I lost my dad and my sister in a car accident, and I was living with them for 2 years at least. And I was doing fasting. I was doing all the stuff they were telling me. I was thinking Allah, which is the God in Islam, He's someone in heaven. Okay, He never have any relationship with me. When I need Him, I cry out, you know, to help me. You know, I was empty. You know, I was in bad situation. He was not near to me. I thought maybe, you know, I'm in this big world. There is no hope for me. I really hate people that time. I was full of anger. I said, people don't like me. God doesn't care about me. You know, religion doesn't help me. So why I have to leave? So one day I decided to suicide. I was crying that night. I remember I drank also. I said, God, why I'm not dying? You know, I don't want to live anymore. Why I have to leave? And after that was one day I remember my friend, whose name is Hassan, he introduced me to some Christian organization. One day he told me, there is a church in this street. Do you want to go and visit that church? I said, no, I don't want to go to the church. And he was Muslim too. I don't want to go to the church. He said, no, let's go there. So we went there. Anyway, it was the middle of the service and preacher was preaching about the message of gospel. I remember he was saying, God is our Father. And that was the place I feel empty in my heart. I thought the emptiness in my heart is because I don't have my dad. But it was not true actually. It was part of it. But he was teaching, he was preaching, you know, God is our Father. And then his message was speaking to my heart. I feel, you know, it's some relationship between his word and my heart. He was telling in his message, you know, how God loves people, even though they are sinner, even though they are not walking with Him every day. But he was telling me about his passion. God has, you know, He's created us as a Father, and He loves us, you know. It doesn't matter who we are, from which generation, from which religion, if we are Muslim, if we are Christian. He's Abba Father, you know. So when the service ended, the gentleman came. He said, if you want to come and give your heart to Jesus. I was going to do that really, but I was afraid of my friend. Hassan was there. I said, no, he's going to see, you know, I became Christian. He's going to tell all the neighbors, friends, you know, yeah, and last time became Christian. And so it was very, you know, it was war inside of me. Okay, some voice said, go to the altar, to the front and give your heart, and another voice said, no, don't do that. You know, it was, you know, my flesh was telling me, don't do that. So the gentleman came again. He said, you know, this preacher is going to preach entire week. If you want to come, welcome tomorrow also. I said, yes, I'm going to go to the church again, but without Hassan, you know. I don't want to go with Hassan. But after that service, I went home. I couldn't sleep that night. The word of that preacher were talking to me all night, you know. It was really touched my heart. So then tomorrow after work, I went to the church. I was first person in the sanctuary, and then I feel very different smell I never feel in the past, you know. And then suddenly people started to come to the church one by one, and then people start to singing and worship the Lord. In the past, I was going to the mosque, you know. I never seen people singing for the Lord, joying because they have something in their life. When I saw it was people crying to Allah. They were in sorrow, you know, because what happened to their imam or to their prophet. But I never seen someone is dancing, singing for the Lord. And one thing it was interesting to me also, it was they were singing to Jesus. One song I always remember, it touched my heart, was, you know, if you're tired, if you don't know about your future, tell it to Jesus, tell it to Jesus. If you are sinner, tell it to Jesus, you know. So the songs were you know, talking to my life, to my heart, you know. It was something I never experienced before.